Enterprise Stories is a weekly radio program that shares the experiences of successful Nigerian entrepreneurs and provides expert analysis of their success factors. Enterprise Stories, business stories of success.
Good day and welcome to today's episode of Enterprise Stories. My name is Olawale Anifowose and I am your presenter for the program. We have a wonderful lineup for you today, and for us to start, we will be having an expert who will be taking our lecture series, and he will be exposing us to strategic planning and the importance for our business. To move on very quickly, we will be having an entrepreneur in the real estate segment, and he will be our guest on the Story of the Day segment. To start the program today, we have with us here Mr. Bayo Rotimi, the CEO of Quest Advisory Services Limited. Mr. Bayo Rotimi is a strategy expert and also teaches strategy on the Certificate in Entrepreneurial Management program of the Enterprise Development Center. Mr. Bayo Rotimi will today be sharing his experience with us on strategic planning, the importance and relevance. Welcome, Mr. Bayo Rotimi.
Thank you very much. Good day, listeners. I'd like to spend the next couple of minutes talking about the importance of strategic planning. It is critical that every business spends a bit of time and a bit of effort focused on this very important subject. It helps to set the tone and it helps to create a roadmap for the business. So what I will try to do over the next couple of minutes is just to highlight very, very briefly some critical factors that every business person must consider when they are putting together a strategy for their business. First and foremost, they must understand their environment. They must understand their environment, starting from the macro economy. What is happening regarding government policy? What is the direction of government policy? How does that policy impact upon their businesses? That is the first thing every entrepreneur needs to know. Secondly, what is happening in the micro environment, which is really the industry in which they are operating? What are the dynamics of that industry? What are the characteristics of that industry? What are the challenges peculiar to that particular industry? With that kind of an understanding, they can fashion a plan, they can fashion a strategy that will keep them in business for a long time, because ultimately their objectives will be to build institutions that will live after them. So they must first of all understand the macro environment, they must understand the industry in which they operate. Then the third tripod is really the firm itself. What is the business about? Which problem does that business seek to solve? Which crisis is out there? Which need is being unmet? So every business must have a clear value proposition. You must be addressing a specific need. You must be creating value for certain individuals if your business is to run smoothly and profitably. Again, as part of the strategic planning process, every business must conduct what we call an internal examination, something called a SWOT analysis, i.e., understand the strengths of your businesses, and you as the promoter and manager of that business, you look at the weaknesses inherent inside of your business. What are the skills sets you do not yet have? Is it in terms of HR? Is it in terms of financial record keeping? Is it in terms of customer service? You need to understand the weaknesses of your own business and thereafter come up with ways of mitigating those weaknesses. Thirdly, you want to look at the opportunities inherent in the industry that you are operating in. Everybody that runs a business in Nigeria in my opinion, are faced with significant opportunities because Nigeria has a large and a vibrant market. You just need to know where to come in, what solution to provide to Nigerians. Finally, you need to look at the threats. In running every business, there are certain challenges that will come from the environment. There are certain challenges that will come from competition, certain things that you can do very little about. So what that means is you need to position your business appropriately so that you can overcome or at least give yourself some level of defense when the threats come. After that, I would like for most business owners to also take this business of business planning very, very seriously. Your business plan is your roadmap. It is not just a document you prepare to raise finance. It is something that should be the constitution of your business, and it will guide you going forward. Finally, you need to understand and identify what you consider to be the critical success factors for your business, and ultimately, if you stick to that, that will drive your business and ensure you are building a sustainable institution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rotimi, for the insightful 5 minutes. Mr. Rotimi will be back with us to give his expert analysis of the story of the day. We are now in the story of the day segment, and with us we have a very interesting personality, Mr. Charles K. OGOR, who is an architect and also the CEO of Clapton's Associates Limited. And he's going to be sharing his experiences with us and basically his story of how he started Clapton's Associates Limited. So, Mr. Charles, you can introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you for having me, Wally. My name is Charles OGOR, like you have said. We started Clapton Associates as a business name, and we've grown from a small firm to a limited liability company, which is now Clapton's Associates Limited. We're into architecture, design, interiors, construction, project management, and facility management.
Oh, fantastic. This is interesting. Just before the program started, you were showing me some models and some of your great, architectural designs. And I'm wondering, how did this all start? Did you always know that you were going to become an architect, or what really is the story of how this started?
It's something I really enjoy doing. Like I said before we started the program, I can do it for free. It's part of me. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do, so I can do it for free. It's all in me. My dad is a civil engineer, but architecture is my life.
Okay, so that means that I can come and get a house for you for free.
And we'll talk about that.
Okay, so at what point did you decide that you could actually make a business of this architectural experience that you have?
Well, I served in a firm for over 6 years, and at the point I felt that things could be run in a better manner and way. So in the course of trying to find my footing,
you basically jumped ship. You jumped ship into your own ship.
Yeah, and it couldn't be worse than that. It couldn't be worse. You can't, if you're on the ground, you can't go lower than that. You know. So, bottom line, I thought to myself that there could be better ways of doing this and running this. So we attended at a point. We looked at educating ourselves, improving on our delivery methods. So at a point, I thought it best that I should attend the certificate in entrepreneurial management to improve on my entrepreneurial skills, because I felt things could be done better.
Okay, and it was after that program that you then set up the business on your own fully?
Oh yes. As a matter of fact, we went from a business name to a limited liability company, and ever since, the sky has just been the beginning.
Fantastic.
And I advise everybody that has learnt or heard about SEM to try and partake in it, because it's like a turnaround for each and every person that attends this program. I mean, you get to see your business in a clearer light and better view, and you understand the business of the day.
Tell us, how long have you been doing this as a full-time business, and how has the experience been running Clapton Associates Limited?
Yes, we've been doing this for about 10 to 14 years now as a full-time business, and it's been pretty well. We'll say we thank God for His mercies and His guidance, directing our paths in the right way, and coupled with the fact that the training we've had from Enterprise Development Center, we've been able to channel our paths and our energy towards achieving our goals, which is providing value, sustainable value for the clients and meeting their requirements and making the end users happy. That's the bottom line.
Okay. Yeah. So what are the things that that you learned on the program, the certificate in entrepreneurial management? I remember you were in the SEM 12 class.
Yes.
So what were the modules that really helped you to transform your business, and what are those transformations?
I'll tell you, I can go on and on, like I'll always say, but I'll tell you two things that were outstanding, which is HR.
That's human resources.
Human resources. Which,
that's the people make it happen.
People make it happen.
Yes.
And accounts. Once you have those two tied down, locked down, you're good to go, and you understand your the strategy behind which you want to operate by. So those are the key things that made it happen for me.
Okay. So what kind of challenges did you have with human resources, and what are the kind of solutions that you were able to implement that made a difference in the business?
First and foremost, you must you must set goals so that you know where you're going to. And with the fact that we have people these days who don't want to work, you make them understand.
So were you having high staff turnover?
Funny enough, I've kept all my staff. The strategy we were using was to employ people who are 1 year outside school, which is NYC and IT, because we looked at training people. But because we just trained them for 1 year and they move on, it didn't really give us the time we need to really impact the knowledge we want to impact on them. So we started recruiting, and we find out that from the recruitment, if you don't get it right, your business will always be shaky.
Yes.
So those are part of the things we learned from the human resources and accounting. You need to know what your figures are like. You need to know what you're working with.
So were you having problems with your figures initially? Because I mean, like you said earlier on, some of the models you showed, you told me what the cost price was and how you the kind of margins that you put in between. So what were some of these things you learned in terms of keeping your financial records, the model now, and helped you to understand how to keep your profit margin?
Yeah, one of the things we learned was how we could use technology and other means to manage a business and get maximum results. Like in communication, for example. I mean, we can travel, we have workers everywhere. Lagos, outside Lagos. How do we communicate to them? Communication is expensive in its own right. So what did we do? We created a small network, our network, and we logged on small entrepreneurs like us so that we could drive down the cost of communication. That's just a bit of it. But in all other aspects, we try and do the planning. Like us architects, we plan a lot. So we do the planning before we implement. So we do a lot of planning, back office, then we go and implement. Then pinpoint what you want to do and how you would tend to achieve it.
Okay. So can you share some of the models and the models that you have in the market, and how are you able to actually sell these houses in the market? I really don't understand how you do it, because I've seen on your website that almost all the models, all the houses you have been sold. You don't have anything out there. How have you been able to do this?
Yes, that's our own strategy. We can.
You don't want to share your secret.
That's our trade secret, but I'll tell you this: we want to come under market price. One other thing we've been able to do is not borrow so much fund, or not borrow funds at all. We've been able to. We have track record. So what we have done, people have seen, and referrals, like we learned, referrals will always push you. So when you have people doing good things, it's good to tell the next person, and that's how we sometimes we request for referrals. If you know you're satisfied with what we've done, if you know you're dissatisfied, let us know. We'll improve on those ends, and that's how.
So how have you been able to raise capital to take off on some of the projects you've done?
What we have done, we have people believe in our product. They have seen what we have done, and we've given them timelines. We tell them we'll do ABC, and by the time we finish ABC, you can make your next contribution. So it's based on timelines and meeting our deadlines. Then they make contributions. So it's both win-win by both parties. If we don't hit this target, I mean, we have so many estates coming up, and they tell you they want to do this, they want to do that, and 5 years down the line, your money is stuck. You're not getting anywhere. I mean, so those are the issues. We have been in this industry for over 10 years, and we have identified some of these issues. We as architect designers, I mean, people come to us to design, but we are trying to identify the problems, because you need to identify the problems, then solve the problem. What are the problems? Now, how everybody can build, most people think they can build, the right set of buildings and structures. But is it just building? What about sustainability?
You're going into your fifth project now, or
this is our second large project.
Your second large project,
like on the real estate.
Yes,
end.
that's what
we've done other things in the federal with some other firms and big firms.
Fantastic. Okay, just before we go, maybe you would like to share a word with entrepreneurs out there that are looking at the real estate business and are thinking of venturing into that. What would be the one thing you would share with them?
I'll tell them they should first be focused on, be clear cut on what they want to do. Get professionals to look at the ends if they are not professional in their own rights, and they can be advised properly, and they know what to do. They can be advised properly, because the truth is that you can't do everything. You need different professionals to put the puzzles together, get a collective whole.
Okay.
So that's what I'll say.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Charles Ogo from Clapton's Associates Limited. It's been wonderful having you share your story with us today. We hope that sometime we'll be able to bring you back and you will give out a house or something.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for listening to us.
Good day, listeners. I've spent a bit of time listening to Charles Ogo. I think he's done remarkably well in spite of a difficult operating environment. I picked up on a number of things in the course of his discussion, and there are things that I would certainly recommend to a number of other entrepreneurs. The first one was you need to identify your own unique selling point. I think Charles is an entrepreneur that is driven by passion. He was ready to do this business even for free. And that's really the starting point. It is the passion that gets you out of bed and gets you on those difficult days when there is very little in the tank. That is what will keep you going, especially when you are operating in a very intensely competitive environment. So you need the passion. Secondly, you need a unique selling point. That must be something that differentiates you from the pack. The next thing he mentioned, which makes a lot of sense, which I recommend to everybody, is you need to have proper financial planning, i.e. you must keep proper financial records. It is critical for you to be able to attract any form of financing. You need to show a track record. You need to ensure that all of your expenses are properly tracked, all of your revenues are tracked. You need to keep the cost at the lowest and push up your revenues. He said something very interesting. He said that his business leverages on IT, information technology, just to help them in keeping proper financial records. This is certainly something we recommend to all business people. You need to have proper systems. Again, you could either have an in-house accountant or you can outsource that particular function. Another critical thing he talked about was human resource or your human capital. The people you have are really the major determinants of whether your business will succeed or it will have a lot of difficulty. And there are critical areas. Number one, recruitment. Identify the right kind of people, the right caliber, the people with the right skill sets and qualifications to do that which you need them to do. You need to have clear job descriptions. Everybody must understand what exactly they are meant to do. They must be able to align with the vision of the founder and the promoter of the business, i.e., they must buy into that vision. Thirdly, there must be a system of performance management. So you've hired the people, you've given them job descriptions. You must now be able to measure in a quantitative manner how these people are performing. Are they adding value or are they taking value away from your business? Charles also identified what I call his area of competitive advantage. And for most businesses, is a combination of two things. It is either you have a price advantage or you have a product or a service differentiation advantage. So in his case, I believe it is a combination of the two. Because he's managed his finances properly, he has a cost advantage probably over the competition. And because he is focused on delivering quality buildings, he also has a product differentiation advantage. The next point he mentioned was that relating to financing arrangements. He's come up with a unique way of getting his clients to pre-fund his operations, and that is classic, and I recommend this to a lot of people. But you can only do this when you have a track record of performance. So the first thing every entrepreneur must do is build a reputation. Let your word be your bond. Deliver on time and at the right quality. Once you have that combination, people will give you money in advance, and you can then reduce your dependence on external funding, especially bank for borrowings, which may be largely more expensive. But I think it is a great strategy, and I think that people should look at their businesses and help and come up with strategies that really and truly, financing strategies that really and truly promote their businesses. The next thing he also made mention of was relating to customer service. I think ultimately, for you to succeed in business, you must be able to ensure that you deliver good quality products all of the time. You need to be able to engage your customers actively. You need to ensure that the customers have implicit confidence in your ability to deliver. And Charles's business is predicated on his capacity to deliver. If he slips up once, it will be difficult to remedy that situation. So I encourage every entrepreneur, make sure you deliver quality all of the time, all the time. Thank you.
Wow, how time flies. We have come to the end of the program for today, and I believe it has been truly enriching, particularly the analysis from our experts, which helps us to understand that those decisions that we take helps us to stand out from competition. Thank you for listening to us, and stay tuned for our program next week. Thank you. For comments and questions, please email enterprisestories@pau.edu.ng, or to listen to this episode again, log on.